Praise be to you, Yahuwah my Elohim. Praise be to your Son, Yahushua my Messiah. I come at your feet in the name of your Son. Thank you for the knowledge you pour unto me, and thank you for breaking all the shackle that was bound on my face. Yahuwah, you are the only true living God. Thank you for your Yahusha, whom you truly love. You are Elohim, the Elohim of the Yahudim.
Shalom, family. I'm your brother, Pierre Ligi, and welcome back to The Remnant Awakens. If you've been tuning in, y'all know what it is. Real talk, nothing sugar-coated. We dig up the truth in these last days because someone's gotta do it. I mean, sometimes it feels like you look left, look right, you hear plenty of so-called teachers and self-appointed apostles leading generations. But is any of them really talking about the narrow way, about the Torah, about true identity of Yashar Al? Did they ever mention the name Yahuwah or Yahusha? Or are they all just recycling the same narratives that got handed down from some European theologian? Anyway, that's why we're here. Let's get into it. Family, I got to start with one thing, and I'm gonna be blunt. Yahuwah is angry, not a little upset, not slightly annoyed, angry. And who's he angry at? These so-called shepherds, pastors, leaders, bishops, whoever claims they are guiding his people. In Yirmiyahu, Jeremiah chapter 23, verses 1 to 2, it's written plain, "Woe be unto the pastors that destroy and scatter the sheep of my pasture, says Yahuwah. Behold, I will visit upon you the evil of your doings." That's not a gentle reminder. That's judgment. But you won't hear that in church. Everybody wants blessings. Everybody wants favor. But nobody says this: if you're leading souls away from Yahuwah's will, there will be eternal consequences. Look back at history. Why were Yasharal and the Yahudim scattered to the four corners of the earth? It started with leaders. Leaders who broke covenant. Leaders who bowed down to idols. Leaders who threw away the commandments and who rejected Yahuwah, our Alua. And here we are again. Different time. Same mess. Preachers on TV and streaming platforms. Pastors in fancy suits with a tithe plate bigger than a family size being passed around every 20 minutes like a weekly subscription. Some flying private jets paid off with tithes while their tithers are financially struggling, holding on to that last paycheck. But how many of them tell the truth? How many warn about deception? How many tell you that Torah isn't just for the Yehudim, Jew, it's for the whole humankind as the righteous way of life? Scripture doesn't play with this, and like we broke down in our episode on the mystery of iniquity, deception ain't new. It's the oldest trick in the book, and now it got some new updates. So, let's keep moving, because this next part weighs heavy on me. Matityahu, or Matthew, chapter 18, verse 6. Man, talk about a warning. Yahusha straight up says, "But whoso shall offend one of these little ones which believe in me, it were better for him that a millstone were hanged about his neck, and that he were drowned in the depth of the sea." When I read that, honestly, sometimes I got a pause. It's not just about not messing up kids. It's about anyone who's humble, new in the faith, anybody who's sincerely trying to walk in the truth. You ever seen someone walk away from the faith because a leader lied, or twisted the word, or acted in a way that made you question everything? especially when you're not even close to the truth. I've seen it. It's ugly and really tricky, and these days it feels like there's a whole lot of stumbling blocks, man-made doctrines, traditions, holidays that ain't in the scriptures, even just bad attitudes. It's like, why make this walk harder than it already is? Family, this is a heart check moment. Are we helping brothers and sisters grow, or are our words and actions tripping them up? There's gotta be a difference between making a mistake and willfully leading someone into darkness. You know, not to go off on a tangent, but sometimes you hear folks say, how do we end up so divided? Well, Yahusha called it. Matthew chapter 7 verse 15. He says, beware of false prophets, which come to you in sheep's clothing, but inwardly they are ravening wolves. This one gets me every time. False prophets. Man, they don't come wearing bright red I'm the bad guy t-shirts, right? Nah, they look holy. They know the lingo, quote some scriptures, look like they're about the Father's business, but their fruit don't line up. And you got to watch, like really watch, because sometimes it's not obvious. And the worst part, some of these wolves got massive followings. They're loved by the world. Sometimes it looks like they got it all together. But as we saw in our episodes about deception, like fraternities, secret societies, and false systems, these wolves work from the inside. They change little by little, till before you know it, the sheep don't recognize what's happening. If you've been following this podcast, you know I always say, don't just take my word for it. Test everything by the word. That's how you catch a wolf. All right, so let's bring it even closer to home. Luke chapter 6, verse 46 to 49. This is one of those scriptures that just, man, it's like Yahusha's looking you dead in the eye. Why call ye me, Adonai, Adonai, and do not the things which I say? But he that hears and does not is like a man without a foundation. That to me just says it all. It doesn't matter how loud you shout, how many hallelujahs you say, even how many lessons you teach. If you're not actually doing what he says, keeping the commandments, walking in righteousness, your house is sand, not rock. And look, storms come for everybody, right? Life will test you, sometimes in ways you didn't see coming. But when the world shakes, if your foundation is slippery traditions or, just following men instead of Yahusha, the whole thing's coming down. That's what happened to our people before. We built on man's ideas and the house fell. But the remnant, the ones waking up now, like we talked about in the episode on the Table of Nations, y'all get a second shot to build right. So don't waste it. So here's where it gets serious, real serious. Yaakov, or James chapter 3 verse 1 says, my brethren, be not many masters, knowing that we shall receive the greater condemnation. Teachers, leaders, those with the mic, the platform, there's a higher standard. Period. I mean, I'm not here to scare nobody, but also the word ain't about making us comfortable. It's about truth. There's a weight to teaching others about Yahuwah Alua, a responsibility. When we take that lightly, just doing church for attention, applause, or money, it leads people off a cliff. I remember someone asked me once, Pierre, why do you sound so intense? Why do you always sound like you're carrying a burden when you speak? And it's because of scriptures like this. There's a greater judgment waiting for those who mislead the flock. Even if you got a big audience, fame, likes, doesn't mean that Yahuwah, the Most High, is pleased. I would rather have 10 people listening, but speak what's true, than have thousands or millions and deceive even one. So let me just talk directly to the remnant teachers, messengers, ministers out there. If you're hearing this, and I don't care if you got a pulpit, a YouTube, or just your household, this is a call to tremble. Yeah, I said tremble. I know we live in a world where everybody wanna be anointed, everybody wanna be called. But do we really understand the responsibility? If you teach, if you lead, you need to preach the truth, not what's popular, not what fills seats, or even what keeps people from leaving. It's about what's real, even if it makes you feel small, makes you lose sleep. I gotta say, sometimes I wonder if I'm too hard, but then I read these scriptures and I can't apologize for truth. In fact, if I ever sound too soft, remind me to turn up that fire. Family, because honestly, we're standing on the edge of the second Exodus, the restoration of Yasharal and the return of Yahusha the King. This is not the time for cute sermons, it's the time for holy trembling. Family, let's get real for a second. The narrow path Yahusha told us about, it's not for show, it's not for clout. It's for the set-apart ones, the remnant, who stay awake. Protect that narrow road. Guard your heart. Guard your circle. Guard what goes in your ears and comes out your mouth. If anything, if all this feels heavy, good. That means we're awake, not asleep with the world. There's all kinds of pressures. False doctrine, compromise, fear, distractions. But the reward for holding tight to the truth, it's way bigger than this world can offer. Remember, this is about preparing ourselves and our people for that second Exodus. Don't let nobody drag you off the path. Not another teacher, not society, not nobody. Stay close to Yahuwah. When in doubt, go back to the Torah, go back to the Word, and always check yourself. All right, family, that's it for today. I am Pierre Ligi, your brother from the tribe of Yehuda, and this is The Remnant Awakens. If this message stirred your spirit, don't keep it to yourself. Like this video so it reaches more people. Subscribe if you're awakening to truth. And comment below with what stood out to you most. And if you know someone still asleep or deceiving others, share this episode with them. Let's keep awakening the remnant, one voice at a time. Until next time, shalom. See you all on the next episode.
Praise be to you, Yahuwah my Elohim. Praise be to your Son, Yahushua my Messiah. I come at your feet in the name of your Son. Thank you for the knowledge you pour onto me, and thank you for breaking out the shackle that was bound on my face. Yahuwah, you are the only true living God. Indeed. Thank you for your Yahusha, whom you truly love. You are Elohim, the